Things we learned from the past week, mate. Make 3 or so points. What's your first point you want to make?
My first one's the Dolphins. Genuinely look like they're really good, and honestly, could make the playoffs. In my opinion, they'll be third in their division, but I mean, if they have a positive record, then they could do it. They look a lot better than, and they're like, it's not just their offense; their defense looks pretty good as well.
Yeah, their defense is underrated, I think. Um, but yeah, I don't know. They've been great the last 3 weeks. Only one score behind Seahawks last week. Beat the Jags comfortably, and now smashing the 49ers. I don't know. We just mentioned a few of those AFC wildcard teams: the Colts, Browns, Raiders. Maybe even the Titans. I think they are a little bit off them, but I think they're definitely going to be improving on what we saw from them last year. Could be looking at an even record or something. So maybe 7-9, 8-8. So they will be there or thereabouts for sure. But yeah, I'm liking the Titans right now. A bit of the Dolphins. Sorry, a bit of Fitz magic.
Yeah,
Um,
he looks good.
yeah, I predicted them to finish on top of the Patriots. It's still a chance. You never know. Um, all right, my first thing we've learned, if you were follow my Twitter, go check it out. You can find the links to through this episode or whatever. Um, the 49ers are in big trouble, and they could become the newest victim of the Super Bowl loser hangover. So I was listening to a podcast, and um, they were talking about Ron Rivera and Dan Quinn, and they were saying maybe there's more of an effect on losing the Super Bowl than people think from a coach's standpoint. But I just went and did some research, and yeah, 3 of the last 4 Super Bowl losers have missed the playoffs in one of the following 2 seasons. The Rams now go not the Rams, the 49ers now go 2-3, and they have had the second easiest strength of schedule in the whole league behind the Steelers, and they're only 2-3. So they have had a few injuries, but a few of them aren't coming back. Bosa, Solomon Thomas both did ACLs. I think Richard Sherman's out for quite a long time. And yeah, it's not looking good there. This is their next 7 games. So they've got the Rams, the Patriots, the Seahawks, the Packers, the Saints, the Rams, the Bills. So
Like, yeah, on 7.
like they are in huge trouble. They like might even come fourth in their division. So I think at this point, as you mentioned earlier, I would be very shocked if they made the playoffs. I think the only thing saving them right now is the other. Probably we were probably shocked by this. We probably thought the NFC wildcard race was going to be hot, but that's probably the only thing saving them right now. That the NFC wildcard teams don't look too good. Like you've got the Bears. They even though they're 4-1, they don't look invincible. Then you've got like the Saints and the Bucks. They're not looking too hot. And then obviously the NFC East. That's just a train wreck. So there's still a chance to sneak in, but yep, something's got to change fast. And the most alarming thing for me with them is their defense. That's what they prided themselves on last week. Yes, they have lost a few players. That's what they prided themselves on last season. They have lost a few players, but to be conceding 43 points to the Dolphins, like that's unheard of from the 49ers last year, who averaged the fewest yards per play out of any defense. They gave that up. So yeah, worrying signs at the 49ers. Yes, they do have a few players coming back from injury and stuff. But yeah, they don't want to get too far behind, and that schedule is very scary. And as you said, a lot of QB concerns going on at the moment there. What's your other thing? What's your other one of your other points?
We touched on this before, but I had DK Metcalf could be the next generational wide receiver, like the next Julio Jones or whoever you want. He just looks like an absolute freak, as we said before, and like he could genuinely score like 15 touchdowns this season. And like we saw what he did on the last drive. I think he had like a 30-yard catch and then the touchdown catch straight after it to win the game. So yeah, he's a freak.
Yeah, I don't know how anyone can defend him because there's no cornerback big enough. Like most of the cornerbacks are quite small and like skinny.
Yeah.
Um, they're fast, but that's about it. It'll be interesting to see. Oh, I don't know if they've played the Rams yet. I don't think they have. But it'll be interesting to see how he matches up against Jalen Ramsey, who's probably one of the more physically dominant cornerbacks in the league. But yeah, what we saw him do to like Stephon Gilmore and stuff like that, I actually don't know how you stop him because
Yeah.
he's so fast, so strong. It seems unstoppable right now.
And
And especially with the Carson running game being on form, it's
yeah,
making so much space for everyone. Yeah, what were you going to say?
yeah, and especially with Russell Wilson throwing to him, it's just going to
Yeah,
be in the perfect spot every time.
yeah, exactly. Definitely an exciting prospect. My next point is this is probably a bit harsh, but I've gone the Steelers are overrated. They've had the easiest strength of schedule in the whole league. They've conceded 20 plus points to the Broncos, Texans, and the Eagles. They won 38 to 29 against the Eagles on the weekend. They've only scored 30 plus. They haven't scored above. I think they've only scored 30 plus once. And they've got the Browns, Titans, and the Ravens in the next three. So we're going to find out if they actually are overrated or if I'm just talking dribble here because they're three tough opponents. But yeah, they're on track for the playoffs, and I still think they will make the playoffs because they've got a light schedule. But I reckon they might, if they keep this form up, I think they're going to go into the playoffs overhyped and they're going to crash out pretty easily because their defense was their thing that carried them last year, obviously with Big Ben out, and it really has not been the same this year. Those three teams that I mentioned earlier, the Broncos, Texans, and Eagles, they're probably three of the worst offensive teams going around, and to be shipping 20 plus to them, you can only imagine what like the Chiefs will do to them. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how those next three teams go against them, the Browns, Titans, and Ravens, because they're all pretty good offensive sides themselves. So we'll see if they actually are overrated. Because yeah, right now I've got some concerns about the Steelers despite being undefeated. So
Yeah,
yeah, that
huge game this week against the Browns.
yeah, big one, big one. But yeah, that match against the Eagles on the weekend when I saw that score, I actually don't know when the points came, so there might have been some junk time points. But yeah,
No,
some
it
concerns
was.
for me.
I'm pretty sure Steelers scored the last touchdown, so it was like a 1 point game or something
Oh, really?
until the end. So yes, there are definitely concerns.
Yeah. All right. What's your other point?
Um, the Chargers don't know how to win, is what I said, because
Yeah.
they're 1-4. We talked about this the other day, but they're 1-4, and their only win was a 3 point win against the Cincinnati Bengals this season. And they look really good, like both offensively and defensively, but they just keep losing by like 3 points. They've got two overtime losses against two really good teams, to be fair to them. But it was a similar case last season. Like a lot of their losses were by like 3 points, and they sort of seem to choke quite a bit. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's a bit deeper than the talent going on the field. Might be a
Yeah.
bit of a mental thing.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. It's frustrating because I like the Chargers. Their defense keeps them in pretty much every match as well, so it's always going
Yeah,
to be tight matches. So if they just learn how to finish them off, all of a sudden they could quite comfortably become a playoff team pretty fast as well. So yeah, it's looking all right though. They have had some tough games. They're putting up some good fights. I think their last three matches have been the Chiefs, Bucks, and Saints. So not the easiest matches. Probably wouldn't expect them to win, but yeah, they've got to start taking advantage of their chances because yeah, pretty poor to cough up that lead they had against the Saints. My final one's a very vague point, but it's basically, I think that this season's going to be the most unpredictable season of all time. Like, I think we can't be, even though I've just come out and said the Steelers are overrated, I don't think we can be launching into assumptions too early because we're seeing if offenses just take over matches and all the good defenses from the last few seasons, they're taking a while to get going. We saw the Chiefs concede 40 to the Raiders, Steelers conceded 29 to the Eagles, the Niners conceded 43 to the Dolphins, the Colts conceded 32 to the Browns, and the Bills conceded 42 to the Titans. So that's five of the best defenses right there, all getting dominated by pretty weak offenses. So I think we all just need to hold judgment a little bit. We saw on the weekend with Dak unfortunately going down how much one injury can change a whole team's outlook on a season. So, yeah, I just think although we're here to review the NFL and we're going to be making calls every week, I think this, like, I don't think we can go too hard on a team early. It's only been 5 weeks. I think they're going to take a while to get into it. There was no practice matches beforehand. And I don't think we know who are going to be the title contenders just yet, because I think the good teams might not necessarily have unearthed themselves just yet. For example, we saw how much the AFC wildcard picture changed in 1 week, with the Colts loss to the Browns, the Raiders win over the Chiefs, so on and so forth. So, and the Eagles all of a sudden probably being the favourite to win the NFC East. Not sure how I feel about that, but I don't know. It's a pretty vague point, pretty pointless garbage coming out of my mouth right now, but I just feel like that was worth mentioning, that it's going to be an unpredictable season. I think that the person who wins the Super Bowl could definitely be someone who just hits form from like week 10 onwards or something. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds though, because at the moment it's kind of looking like anyone's game.
It's a miracle! Oh yeah! What about that one? Unbelievable! Balotelli, Aguero! Crowd cheers. Here's Siddle.